Mexico is a land built on ambition, yet much of its history is written in the ink of economic failure and mass migration. The state holds one of the highest concentrations of ghost towns in the United States, a pattern born from the boom and bust cycles of 19th century mining and the unavoidable shifts of modern transportation routes. The silent remains of these settlements stand as monuments to human determination that ultimately yielded to nature and changing times. Some places have collapsed into rubble, while others linger on the brink of extinction, inhabited by only a handful of people surrounded by structures slowly blending back into the desert soil. Where are they? Let's take a closer look. Located in Moreno Valley in Colfax County, Elizabethtown, known to early settlers as E-Town, became the first incorporated town in New Mexico in 1870. Almost overnight, thousands of prospectors poured in, building a dense settlement that reached a peak population of 7,000 people. At its height, E-Town was chaotic and energetic, with 5 general stores, 7 saloons, 3 hotels, and a weekly newspaper. The gold boom did not last. The town's greatest obstacle was water. Extracting gold required large volumes of it, which led to the construction of a 41-mile water system known as the Big Ditch. Rising infrastructure costs combined with declining gold yields caused investors to withdraw. The final blow came in 1903, when a massive fire destroyed much of the wooden downtown district. Today, visitors encounter the stone ruins of the Mutz Hotel, standing alone across open grassland at an elevation of 8,500 feet. Historical records show that by 1950, Elizabethtown was officially classified as a ghost town, with no permanent residents remaining. In contrast, the slopes of the Magdalena Mountains hold the remains of Kelly in remote Socorro County. Kelly represents a town born from silver but undone by lead. Established in 1883, it once supported nearly 3,000 residents and featured substantial amenities, including a large Catholic church and an active school. Today, the site attracts rock collectors searching for traces of smithsonite crystals that were once abundant there. Access requires navigating a rough dirt road. The most striking landmark is the nearly 30-meter-tall wooden head frame of the Tri-Bullion Mine. It is the last original wooden mining tower of its kind still standing in New Mexico. While Kelly has been left largely to nature, Shakespeare functions almost like a preserved time capsule. Near Lordsburg in southwestern New Mexico lies this settlement, originally called Mexican Springs, which served as a stop along the Butterfield Overland Mail Route. The name changed to Shakespeare when investors attempted to lure settlers with claims of a diamond discovery that later proved fraudulent. Although the diamond scheme failed, genuine silver discoveries soon fueled growth to around 3,000 residents. Shakespeare's history is marked by its rough character. The town never had a church, school, or newspaper. It was a hard mining camp populated by prospectors and notorious figures, including Billy the Kid, who was rumored to have washed dishes at a local hotel. Today, buildings such as the Stratford Hotel and the Blacksmith Shop remain preserved in their original form, offering an unfiltered glimpse into the harsh realities of the Wild West era. Shakespeare faded after the railroad moved on. Lake Valley declined for a different reason: an early discovery that was almost too rich to last. In 1882, a miner uncovered an underground cavity known as the Bridal Chamber. It contained massive deposits of nearly pure silver worth millions of dollars, so rich that the ore could be carved directly from the walls. The discovery triggered a population boom, and Lake Valley quickly grew to around 4,000 residents. The collapse came with the silver devaluation of 1893, which struck the town hard. Located in Sierra County, Lake Valley is now a government-managed ghost town. Records indicate its permanent population has been zero since the 1950s. The old schoolhouse, built in 1904, still stands, offering a quiet reminder of a once thriving social life in the isolation of the Chihuahuan Desert. Lake Valley's fall followed global economic policy. Glenrio's fate followed infrastructure change. Situated directly on the border between New Mexico and Texas, Glenrio once thrived as a required stop along Route 66. During the 1940s through the 1960s, its gas stations proudly advertised first in Texas and last in Texas, serving a constant stream of travelers. Everything shifted in 1975 when Interstate 40 opened and completely bypassed the town. Almost overnight, the traffic that sustained Glenrio disappeared. Today, only one or two people are occasionally seen maintaining the crumbling structures scattered across cracked stretches of old asphalt. Glenrio's isolation by the interstate mirrors the experience of another small settlement that still clings to existence beside the roar of modern traffic. Cuervo represents a town that technically remains alive, yet edges closer to full ghost town status. Located in Guadalupe County along Interstate 40, Cuervo now has fewer than 50 residents. It began in 1901 as a railroad water stop. Later highway construction split the community in two, dismantling its business center. Walking through Cuervo today feels surreal. A lived-in house with laundry hanging outside may stand beside an abandoned elementary school with shattered windows. Decades of steady population decline suggest that Cuervo may soon follow Glenrio into complete abandonment. When highway access became the downfall of lowland towns, in the mountains, it was natural isolation that proved most challenging. That was the reality for Mogollon, considered one of the most remote towns in the United States. Located at the end of the narrow and winding Highway 159, it was once among the busiest silver mining camps of the late 1800s. Its difficult location made it vulnerable to Apache raids before the area was eventually secured. After the mines closed following World War II, Mogollon was nearly abandoned. Today, only a handful of seasonal residents remain. The town occupies a unique position, functionally a ghost town, yet modest tourism efforts help preserve several buildings, even as the constant threat of wildfires looms over the surrounding forested mountains. Mogollon's isolation brings to mind another settlement that experienced decline twice before fading into obscurity. Old Hachita, located in the remote stretches of Hidalgo County, was abandoned first when its copper and silver mines were depleted, and again when the railroad relocated 3 miles east to establish a new town site. Today, Old Hachita consists largely of crumbling adobe ruins. Very little wood remains because departing residents removed doors and window frames when they left. Access is difficult and often requires specialized vehicles, making it one of the most authentic and silent ghost towns in the state. Moving away from the remote reaches of Hidalgo County toward Highway 6084, there is a town known for one of the most photographed ruins in New Mexico, its Grand Presbyterian Church. Founded in 1906 as an agricultural center, Taiban struggled because the land proved too dry for large-scale farming. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s delivered the final blow. Residents migrated to more fertile regions. Today, Taiban is completely empty. The wind sweeping across open grassland is often the only sound heard while standing before its iconic stone church. While farming failed in Taiban, another industry briefly extended the life of a small town like Ancho. Located in Lincoln County, Ancho remains a relic of the brick-making and railroad era. In the early 20th century, its brick plant produced materials used to construct many buildings in El Paso. When the factory shut down in the 1920s and rail service ended, Ancho began to wither. One unusual detail is the My House of Old Things Museum, curated by a local resident inside the old train depot. Even that museum now opens only occasionally. Ancho feels less like a living town and more like an open-air exhibit slowly eroding under harsh desert weather. The collapse of Ancho's brick industry contrasts with the fragile persistence of Pinos Altos. Located just a few miles north of Silver City, this settlement marks the site where gold was discovered in 1860. Its early history included violent conflict between miners and native communities. Today, Pinos Altos still has a population of roughly 150 to 200 people, yet its identity as a fully functioning town continues to fade. Many historic buildings, including the Buckhorn Saloon, now operate primarily as tourist attractions. The community risks becoming little more than a satellite village, or potentially declining further if tourism cannot sustain its basic infrastructure. Reliance on tourism also serves as the main lifeline for Madrid, a former coal mining town once advertised for sale in a newspaper. Originally a tightly controlled company coal town, Madrid declined in the 1950s when coal demand dropped. The company famously sold the entire town through a newspaper listing. For nearly 2 decades, Madrid stood completely abandoned before artists began moving into its empty buildings during the 1970s. Although Madrid appears lively today, it remains vulnerable due to serious water supply challenges. Without a reliable water system, and with complete dependence on a fluctuating tourism economy, the town's long-term stability as a permanent community remains uncertain. Water shortages define Madrid's modern struggle, but Chloride's challenge has always been distance from everything else. Founded in 1880 after a silver discovery, Chloride once thrived with 9 saloons and even a slaughterhouse at its peak. When silver prices collapsed, the town was abandoned. In recent years, a small group of individuals has attempted limited restoration efforts. The Pioneer Store now operates as a museum, displaying original goods left behind when its owner closed the doors in 1923. Despite these small signs of revival, Chloride remains vulnerable because of its extreme remoteness and the lack of public infrastructure needed to support a larger population. The restoration efforts in Chloride highlight individual determination. Wagon Mound tells a different story, one shaped by generational change. The town takes its name from a nearby rock formation resembling a covered wagon. Historically, it served as a crucial sheep distribution center for northeastern New Mexico. Although the post office still operates, Wagon Mound faces long-term economic strain. Younger residents continue to leave due to limited job opportunities. Many buildings along the main street are boarded up, creating a sharp contrast between the town's rich past and its increasingly quiet present. The list concludes with Fierro, a true ghost town in Grant County, whose name literally means iron. Founded in 1891, it once pulsed with iron and copper mining activity before complete abandonment followed the shutdown of major operations. Its most striking features are the adobe house ruins and a small church built directly against a steep cliff, creating a scene that feels both dramatic and desolate. Today, Fierro is surrounded by the expansion of large, modern open-pit mines, leaving it isolated like a preserved time capsule. With no residents and increasingly limited public access, Fierro stands as a final monument to a mining era slowly overshadowed by contemporary industry. The existence of these 15 towns, from Elizabethtown to Fierro, reflects the vulnerability of human settlements to economic and environmental change. New Mexico serves as an open-air gallery documenting the transition from prosperity to silence. For towns already reduced to ghosts, they function as frozen historical archives. For those still inhabited yet threatened, they serve as reminders that survival requires more than heritage. It demands adaptation. In the end, these places reveal that across vast deserts and rugged mountains, human footprints remain temporary marks, always at risk of being erased by wind and time.